Flawless victory.
All right, so tonight our guest was recently fired, sadly, which is kind of crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Fired from a lifelong career as a math teacher at a private high school. The reason given, to my understanding, is because of her public views. Okay, Karen Siegemund is a board member of the American Freedom Alliance, which held the conference May 5th, in which Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk was a keynote speaker. Shortly after that is when they let her go. Let's bring Karen on with us. Hello, Karen. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, tell us what American Freedom Alliance is, and what's your latest conference about?
Right. Well, American Freedom Alliance is a nonprofit organization in Los Angeles, and our mission is to protect and defend Western civilization. It's really just that simple. When I first sort of fell into this, I was shocked. It sounded a little bit hyperbolic, and come on, people, Western civilization's under attack, really? And well, guess what? It really is. And what just happened to me is absolute evidence of what happened. So last Sunday, May 5th, we had a conference. We had 20-something speakers on the topic of the left's long march through the institutions, which is what the left has been doing. They've been, for the last several decades, going into all our major institutions, our schools, obviously, media, Hollywood, our churches, all our religious institutions have been taken over from the inside by the left. And so we had this full-day conference, of which, as you note, Turning Point USA's Charlie Kirk was the keynote. And we kicked it off with David Horowitz, one of the foremost experts on the left, and we had 20-something speakers in between on topics that included education in Hollywood and the law and medicine and how the left has gone in to every one of these things. It was a phenomenal conference. The very next day, I found that my school, where I've been teaching a number of years, I have been a teacher for decades, but only at this school for 4, chose to not renew my contract because, as you note, my public views. So right there, Sunday, we're talking about what the left is doing, and Monday, I was a casualty of exactly that, and it was shocking. It's still shocking to me because, as you note, they need to silence us in the public sphere. They have to shut us out of society generally.
Most people don't even think that it would happen to them because you're not doing anything wrong.
No,
you're just living your life. You're just supporting the ideas that you want to support, which is not violent, which is not calling for violence. So for them to do this to you, and I'm really sorry that this happened to you, but it's happening to other people across the board, as far as if you're conservative or if you support President Trump or if you support something that goes against the left.
Exactly right. And we don't expect it, and yet we all do if we're on the right. I've been calling it teaching while conservative, right? This is the thing that we're not allowed to do. We're not allowed to do anything as conservative because no matter what it is we do, no matter how good I am as a teacher or somebody is as an actor or somebody is as anything that we do, a doctor, whatever, if we're not on the left, they will find a way to shut us out. And they're doing it. I happen to be one of the more one of the more visible people to whom this happened. But it's happening. It's really happening to all of us. And I know plenty of teachers who say, well, of course this happened. I've been conservative. I know that if I ever were to speak up, I'd be fired. And this is one of the things that I had cited as a problem, a quote that I had said as president of the American Freedom Alliance. This was cited as one of the reasons they let me go. I had said this: each of us here, I was speaking at an AFA conference, believes in the unparalleled force for good that is Western civilization, that is our heritage, whether we were born here or not. This was cited as somehow hostile and as a reason why I ought not be teaching people's children.
It was hostile?
Yeah.
That's
a hostile statement. It demonstrates that I reject anybody else, which I just made the point that I'm not rejecting anybody else.
You know, there's this lady here in Northern California named Yvette Forlaka, and she's like the leader of this anti-American hate group called BAM, By Any Means Necessary. She's a school teacher herself, and she was arrested, but she's still a school teacher, to my understanding, and they're teaching kids, but simply because you just participate so let me ask you, do you go into the school and do you tell people constantly that what you have to believe, or do you tell people that you have to be a Trump supporter, or do you have to be a conservative, or you have to be a Christian? Have you ever done that in the schools?
On the contrary, obviously. And I have all kinds of testament from various of my students with whom I am not ideologically aligned. And they always say, you never enforce your view, push your views on us. And before I say anything to any of them on any topic, I always say, look, this is my opinion, because they ask it. You need to find out for yourselves. This is my opinion. You go ahead, you dig for the facts, you be skeptical. Don't believe what I say. You find out for yourselves. And I tell them, you may not remember anything I've ever taught you, but remember this, be skeptical. Always dig deeper, always find out for yourself what the truth is, because there's always going to be people trying to influence you. So it's not me. In fact, the day after the election, two things happened. One is another one of my fellow teachers told our students that he felt like it was another 9/11, that this was like a terrorist attack. The election of Donald Trump was like a terrorist attack.
Really?
Which was, we heard about this on the media, but I actually know a teacher who actually said this to my students. My response to the students was, how about if we see what the man does as president before we start screaming that the sky is falling? That's number one. The other thing that happened on the day after the election, I had students come up to me and say, oh, Dr. Siegemund, I know you must be disappointed. So how much did I impose my views on these students if they didn't know that I was really happy that Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton? So I obviously am not oppressive with my views. I'm obviously not imposing them on anybody. I'm not even making them clear in all cases, because all I want them to do is think for themselves.
Yeah,
for that, my contract is not renewed, and the teacher who said this is like 9/11, his contract is renewed. So teachers who wear resist T-shirts, or who wear T-shirts that are very political in nature, they're still there. Teachers who participate in those marches, they're still there. And if I defend Western civilization, I'm gone.
And all that's fine. All of that's fine.
Right.
So it's, you know what? I've said this a lot on my broadcast. It reminds me of Nazi Germany, that you cannot say certain things. You can't even say certain people's names now on social media, because they'll come after you. Right. With the whole censorship and the banning that they did of a lot of people here recently.
A lot of people. Yeah.
And now they're making it to where if you say a name, that you're subject to being removed or banned just because you mention someone's name. Unless you talk bad about these people, you cannot be on there. So how is it not different than Nazi Germany? And then on top of that, I like to say is digital book burning. Because
that's a great expression.
Yes, it's digital book burning, because the Nazis, when they had literature and books, they didn't want people to read it. They would take them out and they would burn them out there in the field. Instead of that, now because we're in the digital age, they just burn the books.
You're absolutely right, and they deperson us. People are losing bank accounts if they're on the wrong side. Chase Bank in particular, deplatformed, obviously. The left cannot tolerate even one dissenting voice. not even one. And my friend Bill Whittle has made the point that the darkness, right, the left is the darkness. We can conquer the darkness just by a tiny little flame, which is why people like me, a tiny little flame, can't be tolerated. We just can't be. So what the school has just done is told their students, my students, if you step out of line, like Dr. Siegemund did, you're gone. Maybe not at the school, but in your future life, you better learn to just be quiet.
Yeah.
And it's very, very scary because all they know is I was trying to be balanced and I'm the one who's gone. They see, and let me also add this whole notion of tolerance, right? The left is tolerant. Well, how tolerant are they of one small non-leftist voice? They're tolerant zero, not at all. I'm also told that the faculty are uncomfortable with me.
They're uncomfortable with you. And so let me ask you this. Is there anywhere in the contract that, you know, for the school that you were working at that are in the not the student handbook, but the, you know, the teacher's guide or the code of conduct? Was there anything in there that would tell you that you can't have a public view, or did it tell you what your public view should be in order to have the job or fulfill your duties at the school?
No, and actually to the contrary, because the school, on the mission statement, it's things like, we want our students to be able to see things from all sides.
Really?
We want them to be able to examine things from different perspectives. We want them to, you know, learn about issues from a lot of different points of view. We want them to understand the world from, you know, different sides. We want them to be able to have Socratic dialogue, looking at things from a number of perspectives. So you would imagine, therefore, that when I do that, that would be encouraged. But of course, it's not.
How dangerous do you think it is for these leftists to control the ideas in the schools and the thoughts, the pop culture, and the new public square, which is social media?
It's profoundly dangerous. And we conservatives, you are an exception, and there's a handful of exceptions, have not been understanding how dangerous this is. Conservatives, Republicans tend to fight things in the political realm, where the left has been fighting it in every single realm, which is, again, why we had this conference on the Sunday. They have gotten into absolutely everywhere. Every institution, its core purpose has been gutted, and the purpose has been replaced with advancing the leftist narrative. Healthcare isn't about healthcare, it's about control. And science isn't about science, it's about control. Education isn't about education, it's about control. So the left has been doing this, and as long as we don't engage in the battlefield that they've been fighting in, it doesn't matter what we do politically. We can have any kind of candidate, it doesn't matter. We've got to engage in the cultural realm, and it's really time to fight back, both using the legal system, but everything that we have. We need to set up websites. We need to protect conservatives in all realms. We need to protect conservative teachers. We need to fight back against the leftism that's imbuing everything, because you ask how important is it? It's everything. I really feel strongly it's everything, and it was intentional. This is for the last decades. It's been the left's revolution by taking over our institutions. We've let it happen. You mentioned, Republicans have let it happen. We tend to not think of these things as important. When I have conservatives say, "Oh, why are you whining about the straw ban or, bathrooms?"
Seriously?
Because everything. Because
Seriously?
It's everything. Yes. Why are you fighting this? Why aren't you fighting the important stuff? This is important.
You know what? And see, that's how they get us. They nickel and dime us on all these little small things and say, you know what? Don't even pay attention to that. We got bigger issues to deal with.
Right.
You know what? These little small things add up to this mountain. And then you're talking, and we're all sitting there paying attention to this molehill, you know, and everything is happening right in front of us. And it's unbelievable that we are living in a time to where we have to be concerned about what they're teaching our children when they should just be teaching them about the basics, about being good citizens. But they don't want to do that. They want to go to the extreme and go the extra measure on teaching them something that they should not be learning in the first place. And for them to fire you because of your public views. Right. I mean, just because you have a view on something, not because you were like throwing something down their throat. And you know what? The left, they constantly want us to comply, or they constantly want us to go along with, or celebrate even the things that they are doing. And when we don't follow along and we don't get in line and do what they want, then they attack us. They attack you. See, this happening in America, this should fear. Everyone should be terrified, horrified what is happening to you, because just because it's not happening to you today, it's going to happen tomorrow.
DNA Force Plus, our most advanced formula yet. DNA Force Plus is focused on overhauling your body's cellular engines and supporting your optimal energy levels while adapting your body to handle the daily bombardment of toxins. DNA Force Plus contains a combination of the best adaptogens on the market to help your body adapt and bend, not break. Hand-picked adaptogen herbs help protect your body on a cellular level. It's time to try the newest version of one of our most powerful formulas yet with DNA Force Plus. Available at InfoWarsLife.com today.